Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Smackdown review. I gotta say, it was a pretty decent show. I don't know if I want to say good, but all right, it was good. The last part on the show, this is what they should have done on Raw. The big angle ends the show. The big holy shit cliffhanger moment to end the show to keep people coming back last week. Maybe after hashtag Fire Road Dog took off on Twitter, which I don't agree with. Let's be honest. It's not Road Dog's fault. Road Dog at the end of the day still has to answer to McMahon. Road Dog might be the head of creative, but he doesn't have all the creative freedom in the world. I highly doubt a man during the Attitude Era, the caliber of Road Dogg and personality, would put forth, the shows that we were getting the past couple of weeks. But I have to say, Kevin Owens and McMahon, well, I'll get to it later on. We started off with Kevin Owens. And, to start off the show, I mean, he was being very entertaining. We were seeing a lot of things going on here. He was talking about turning this place into the Kevin Owens show. Shane was gone. He was going to take over. Ziggler comes out. He mocks Shane. He's doing the whole, copycat gimmick. He said that what Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton should share the same suit because they sound exactly alike. And I thought that was hilarious that he said that. But this is also one of the things that's really funny about these sorts of promos, and I talked about this in the past. If they know to tell Kevin Owens to say that or whatever that was like, if that was shot from the hip, if that was if that was unplanned, unscripted. With that knowledge in mind, when you know that Tom Phillips sounds like everybody else and Byron Saxton sounds like everybody else, oh, I'm sorry, Byron Sex Addict sounds like everybody else, why are we putting these guys out there? They sound exactly the fucking same. I mean, it gets to the point when I remember Corey Graves was on SmackDown, and actually, that should be the fact of the matter right there of what Kevin Owens should have said. All of them should share the same suit because they all sound exactly alike. And when I'm watching the match, my mind kind of like encompasses them all. So I don't even know I don't even think about who's talking. Remember like back in the day, it's like when, I'm not going to say JR and the King because that's maybe too obvious. But, when it was Gorilla Monsoon or Jesse Ventura or Tony Schiavone and Mike Tenay or, Michael Cole and JBL at least, even the coach for fuck's sakes, you could tell that, who was who. They had very distinct voices. I mean, why was Corey Graves, barred from this joke? I mean, because he's beloved by the smarks, beloved by the hardcore fans? As far as I'm considered, this man who talks about monster handling things, I don't think that, he should be, he shouldn't be the butt of any jokes because they all sound alike. Anyway, it was a good, funny promo. Owens was showing a lot of personality. Daniel Bryan came out. He said that McMahon's going to be there later on. He said Shane, did a lot of hard work to get where he was, and he said you should try some hard work. He looks at Kevin Owens' gut, and I'm funny. I'm finding this funny on this show. There was a lot of references to Kevin Owens' weight, so at least they're not glossing over the issue anymore that Kevin Owens' physique leaves a lot to be desired. So this was a good way to open the show, I guess. You can't really say a lot happened here, but, Kevin Owens did establish his personality, and it was an entertaining way to open the show. Like I said, Kevin Owens is definitely overrated when it comes to, the in-ring work and stuff. People saying that the guy is like a god in the ring, and saying like this guy is like, top star material, but let me tell you something. If this guy, maybe if they altered his appearance in some way, had him slim down slightly, or just get into shape at least. I know he's in better shape than he was in Ring of Honor. See, the thing is, I watched this man when he was Kevin Steen. I watched this guy, prior to him even having the kill Steen kill gimmick in Ring of Honor, and feuding with El Generico. I saw all that shit. People think that they're smart because they've seen a couple of matches that other people haven't. But I've been watching Kevin Owens for a very long time, so it's nothing new what anybody will tell me. He did slim down. He lost some weight. I'm not going to say slim down. He lost some weight. Anyway, AJ Styles defeated Dillinger. What is every single match? Baron Corbin gets knocked off a ring apron. I mean, the man's obsessed with ring aprons. He seems like he climbs up on one and gets knocked down all the time. But decent match between these people. These guys, people. Dillinger, man, I'm telling you, I don't get this. Every single week he comes out there and he loses. Well, like, how is anybody supposed to get behind this guy? First of all, who is this guy? Quick reference to Wikipedia. He was Gavin Spears. He wrestled a little bit in ECW, when they had the WWE CW brand. After that, he did some work in TNA, the Indies, came back, started holding up both his hands. A couple of obnoxious fans chanted 10, and history was made, motherfuckers. I'm not buying it. But it was a decent match between the two, and, he tapped out again. Corbin attacked AJ after the match and said he's going to challenge for the U.S. title. I can't help but wonder what the landscape would have looked like had Corbin not pissed off Vince, and did that Twitter shit, and he got his push and briefcase taken away. Where would Corbin be now? Rusev was in a promo. Who was the chick interviewing? I almost was frightened. I thought that Cyborg's, Skynet had taken over the fucking WWE for a minute. Because the camera goes right on the interviewer's face, the chick right there. And she's like, I'm standing here with Rusev. I mean, she said it so robotically and looked so dead-eyed and deadpan into the camera. I was like, holy motherfucking shit. I was like, you know what she reminded me of? I want to show everybody here. Freakazoid. For people that don't know Freakazoid, the classic 90s show, that you should definitely look into if you haven't seen it. Even the latest Born Millennial, for example. There was a character on that show, a villain called Deadpan, and her face was like this, boom, like fucking Daria almost, maybe even inspired by that slightly. But whatever the case may be, she was exactly like that character. Face was deadpan. She just was looking, straight, beady-eyed right into the fucking camera, and she said her lines so robotically. I was like, that split second she looked in the camera, I was like, seriously, it was like a Terminator staring at me. Rusev, again, he said that he returned home to Bulgaria, but nobody wanted to have anything to do with him. His family was disgraced, by his loss at SummerSlam. And here's the thing, I never understand these losing streak gimmicks. Like, how is this supposed to make us like a wrestler more? Like, how, by having a wrestler lose constantly and making them look pathetic, are we supposed to be sympathetic towards them? Like, no, in a form of entertainment like wrestling, the testosterone pumping, well, it used to be testosterone pumping and filled at one point. But, how are we supposed to get behind these guys when they're losing all the time? I mean, you see a guy like Rusev and you see him, and you're going to see him as a loser. You're not going to get sympathetic. I don't want to be sympathetic while watching wrestling. I just want to see, tough guys, acting tough, for fuck's sakes. Like I said it for years on this channel. It's not rocket science. What is the point of having. Like I said, I'm not a big Rusev fan. I never really, does the guy have a certain look? Yes, but I'm just not ever feeling this guy. I never connected with him. But I always did praise him that they were pushing him very well in 2014. If it was not a bit boring, it wasn't entertaining, but they were protecting the man. Um, anyway, he says that he'll have to break a legend in order to, get his mojo back. Jinder Mahal cut a great promo on Naka Murphy. And like I said, I'm not going to say that this promo was like Cena owning, Reigns. We're not going to start saying people owned other people, but it was an entertaining promo. Jinder once again showing why he's got the personality, he's got the range, he's got the facial expressions. He made fun of Naka Murphy, comparing him to Michael Jackson. Finally, somebody made that reference in front of a camera. He made fun of the guy's face. He puts it up on the Titantron. Where was Naka Murphy to retaliate? Where was he to, come out and counterpoint with Mahal? I don't know, but once again, this is why I'm saying this wasn't a great show. I said it was a good, decent show, a very decent show. Because once again, there's flaws like this. Like, how do you explain that? Mahal's out there making fun of Naka Murphy. This just kind of adds to the point. He doesn't know how to speak English, I guess. He doesn't understand what Mahal's trying to say, and if he can't understand English, I guess he can't understand the insults in English. So that's probably why it didn't come out, right? Silly me. But it was a good promo, and anyone who says that Mahal can't cut a promo, and I do hear this, some corners of the YWC, this makes him look like a bunch of fucking idiots, because it was a good promo and it shows exactly what Mahal could do, and that he does sound like a champion. Kevin Owens was backstage with Sami Zayn. They reminisce, it's like they should have once a week, the intimate corner with Owens and Zayn as they share their experiences from the past. Owens brings up about how they would, they drove to an armory in the snow back in the day when they were indie workers. He said that, after he starts running the place, he would find a job for him. I don't understand, if they're rivals, why are they were beating the shit out of each other? Why are they calmly talking to each other in the back? I don't understand. This is not the first week it's happened. It's happened several weeks. And didn't Owens, by being the referee a few weeks ago, screw Zayn out of a match? New Day defeated the Usos in a street fight. I can't, help but feel that they should have just kept the belts on the Usos or kept the belts on the New Day. What is this back and forth nonsense? When it was, when we saw back and forth with the titles, between Mankind and The Rock, I've said this in the past, when it was the purpose of a storyline or a screw job, I got that. I didn't have a problem, but just hot potato for the sake of it, I'm not getting it. It's the same thing with Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss. We're just shifting titles around just so something happens in the match, I suppose. After a while, that loses its luster. It doesn't feel the same. So when you do have a title switch somewhere else, further down the line, it's going to be like, oh, but that always happens. It was a good match. You had some spots. Jimmy or Jay, whoever the hell that was, went through a table. It was a decent match. It was entertaining. Natalya defeated Naomi. Again, you had some other Attitude Era shit here. Carmella had Ellsworth on the leash, which seems pretty damn sexual for the PG era, I will say. So that was an interesting element right there. I found that to be, entertaining. And that, that adds to it. That was a nice little touch. You had some interactions with Carmella. There's something about Carmella where she has this Attitude Era feel to her. She does. She definitely has a certain attitude, Sable-esque. type of personality to her. I don't know exactly what put my finger on it, but she reminds me of a female from the Attitude Era. The match was going on. Naomi lost again. Why didn't they just keep the belt on Naomi, for fuck's sakes? I couldn't help but feel her losing here again. Just felt flat. But I did enjoy the antics of Carmella and Ellsworth. Ziggler came out for another confusing segment. I'm not getting this thing about Ziggler complaining about wrestlers getting over due to their entrances and and their gimmicks and personalities. What gimmicks and personalities? I'm taking a look at people like Kevin Owens doesn't have a gimmick or fancy entrance. Fuck boy, Balor half the time, he doesn't come out as the demon. Does he have really a personality or a fancy entrance? I mean, Sami Zayn, right? The guy that was just talking. I mean, I don't see, what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense in this day and age. If somebody came out during the Attitude Era and said this, it would make sense, but I'm not really understanding exactly the point of this. Ziggler's doing the copycat stuff, but we've seen this with Stevie Richards during the Attitude Era. Charlie Haas did it. Who else copied other wrestlers? The gimmick has been handed out countless times to everybody, and it is always given to people that have big problems getting over. Ziggler was over at this point, and I don't get why they're making like Ziggler doesn't have a personality or anything. Like, it's obvious that the guy is trying very hard here. He's doing what he can. Why is it that they fuck this guy over constantly? Why did they give more attention to a guy like Balor and no attention at all to a guy like Ziggler? He was off TV for fucking 3 months because they couldn't figure out what to do with him. I mean, so in that case in point, I get it, but I'm not really understanding, like, this whole gimmick. What are they going for here? He's saying the same thing, no one can do what I do in the ring. I don't know. This gimmick really, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, what are they trying to go for here? It doesn't make sense in the context of the era that we're in right now in this company. If, like I said, it would be different if this was larger than life time and everybody had a larger than life gimmick and entrance and it was all about that, but it's not. So this gimmick doesn't make any sense. Benjamin and Gable defeated the Hype Bros. I kind of like how Benjamin is kind of trying to steer Gable in the right direction. You had, what the fuck is his name? Shaking hands with them. But Zack Ryder didn't want to shake hands, so he walks away. And then, and that's the thing. What is Zack Ryder? Like I said, a guy that managed to get himself over for years. I've said it time and time again. Why is he in this pointless tag team? This guy had a chance at the big time. I mean, he had a chance to, if he held on to the U.S. or Intercontinental title, this guy, without a doubt, people were paying to see this guy at one point. And people want to downplay this, but how quickly we forget with 2011 and 2012, people were buying the T-shirts, the foam fingers, the Statue of Liberty, the glasses, the headband with the hair on it, the broski merchandise. Zack Ryder was over. He was a cash cow. But at the time, McMahon didn't want him to really be there. Why was he hired? In that case, why was he employed if McMahon doesn't like him? But I don't get this. And now you see all the goofballs there. You look at a guy like Zack Ryder, how he had personality, he had the physique and everything, but why is a guy like Kevin Owens where he is now, for example? I will never understand the mentality of McMahon. This man is mental. But we will fast forward to the next segment where we see McMahon with Owens. And this was a great segment. Once again, McMahon says, I laughed at the part where he says, "You got your ass kicked by Shane last week." He also talked about Kevin Owens' weight, saying that, well, I don't know exactly what he said, but he made fun of the guy's weight. He says that, he could be in better shape. For example, McMahon, ran Owens down. Then Owens said that, he needs McMahon's word that, he could beat up a McMahon if provoked. McMahon said that there was going to be a Hell in the Cell with him and Shane. Another Hell in the Cell for Shane. Um, for them not having a match at all, it's like seem like they're kind of rushing it. But I guess, they have been interacting for a few months, and they probably just want to give us this big match right away, which is okay with me. But what happened next? Owens headbutts McMahon. McMahon bleeds. And I didn't see any opportunity for McMahon to blade here or anything. Uh, Owens just headbutting him. McMahon gets busted open. He punches him, super kicks him right in the fucking face. And then he goes up to the top and gives him the frog splash. I was impressed at a 72-year-old man taking all those bumps. Very impressive. And, what a way to get this match over. McMahon got his ass out there. And I wouldn't ask McMahon to do this. You don't hear me in any of my rants and reviews asking for McMahon to be out there at age 72, but, McMahon dedicating himself to this, feud. Like I said, I will say this about this week in WWE with Raw and SmackDown, and probably SmackDown had the better structure. I complained about Raw not having that climactic finish where they had a chance with Braun Strowman, but they fucked it up by putting it in the middle of the show. Some goofball on my video says, "Oh, that's because they've been losing viewers in the third hour." Well, if that is the case, then get rid of the third hour. What kind of an argument is that? You're coming at me saying that I'm complaining that the last hour of the show, when it goes off the air to get more viewers, should be the most exciting part of it. So what? So we're just going to put everything into the first 2 hours of the second hour and just say fuck it to the third one? What kind of logical sense does that make? None at all. It doesn't make any sense to go about a show like that. You're going to neglect the third hour and just fuck around. I don't know if I'm buying that, or really the way I see it is they're trying to spotlight other things on the card by giving it the main event slot. People need to remember, unless you've been watching this product for just the past couple of years, the show used to actually start at 9 o'clock, not at 8 o'clock. So why don't they just move the show back to 9 and get rid of the other hour, or just do 8 to 10? What kind of sense does it really make to go about that way? But once again, you've got people out there in YWC land making excuses. So better structure on this show, but most importantly, I saw effort on this show. Effort. They actually tried to do some exciting stuff outside the box. Strowman looked strong on Raw, dominating. A big moment with Cena. You had the promo with Reigns and Cena. Here on SmackDown, Kevin Owens was going backstage. I didn't mention he also talked to Aiden English. There was other moments, with Owens trying to take over the show and trying to talk to everybody. And then at the end, the big climax, you had some decent matches there, some jobbers, Ty Dillinger and everything. But overall, it was a pretty entertaining show. I wasn't bored throughout any part of it. So there you go, motherfuckers. A decent show. This has been your YWC champ, signing out.